Hello everyone, I'm Cass. I want to share with you one of the ways that I have been making Midnight most profitable expansions I've played. In order to do this, I'm going to need a level 80 character with available profession. I have a character boost that is left over from when I got the expansion, so we are going to use that, and we're just going to pop... no. So this is going to require around 15,000 gold in startup costs, and then essentially nearly no cost and just profit from there. It's going to provide us with raw gold, crafting materials, and some raid consumables that we'll be selling. So we'll load in. Quickly set this to my preferred image level, and our first stop is going to be to the bank. And at the bank we're going to pick up enough gold to get things going. We'll then head to the auction materials we need. Training done. So we'll withdraw 15,000 gold that I need. Yeah, I just have 15,011 gold here. And then we'll head over to the auction house. At the auction house, we're going to be picking up a number of different items that we're going to be using to level our crafting, as well as filling out some of our orders. So one of those things is going to be bright linen, really filtered reagents, make it a bit easier. We're going to need 25 just raw pieces of bright linen. We're going to want 100 bolts. And we're going to want 50 of the imbued bolts. Now, we're only going to be getting 1-star quality for these. So you don't have to worry about using the higher quality material. If the prices are very close, you're welcome to, but that's an additional expense that you will slowly get a feel for. We're also going to need motes. I like to filter to current expansion so it's easy to find. These motes are used in a number of different crafting recipes. And we're going to be buying 30 of each of these. You can see that these are very inexpensive. And our total cost for these items was only around 500 gold. Lastly, we're going to need enchanting materials. Our filter is still on current expansion, so I'll just clear out the search box. And we're going to pick up 300 eversinging dust. And we're going to pick up 50 radiant shards. And this is going to be enough to get us started. We'll step outside, find the mailbox, and we'll collect everything. So the total cost for essentially all of that was only around 5,000 gold. One of the funnier parts of this is that the training recipes that we're going to be getting are actually going to end up being more expensive. So, now that we're set up, I'll be heading into the City Hall of Dornegal, taking the portal to the Mage Tower in Stormwind. And then Mage Tower in Stormwind, of course, has a portal to Silvermane. This is our other requirement, that it needs to be an alt, and that is because if you don't have a main that has completed the intro campaign, you won't be able to take this portal. You don't need to do the campaign on this character, but you're welcome to at a later point if you want to. Alright, now that we're in Silvermoon, we'll take a hard right, find our pond with the 2 statues, and then head up to the bazaar. On the right hand side of the bazaar, right near the center, is going to be the 2 crafting tables that we care about, tailoring and enchanting. There's a tailoring trainer here, we'll be learning tailoring from them, and midnight tailoring, and you can see each of these patterns are pretty good. From the tailoring supplier, I'm going to buy 200 of each thread. I might end up needing to buy more, but buy them in stacks of And now we are going to get to the actual crafting component of it. Open up my crafting menu. So my goal here is to get to a skill of between 40 and 50. Ideally, I would like to get 50, but I don't know if we'll be able to. I'm going to try and craft as many different patterns at once as I can. And you'll notice I'm still chatting with Galana, the tailoring trader here. And the reason for that is when a new pattern becomes available, I'm going to want to learn it. These new patterns, of course, are ones I haven't made before, and sometimes they will give more skill points. You can see we're just repeatedly getting new patterns, leveling it up. Perfect. Now, most of the gear I'm making, because my skill is so low, is not something that other players are going to use. Don't worry, we'll be making use of it later. Two skill points. Now there's a lot of different patterns here that have just shown up. Some of them are going to be very cheap to make. See, this one only costs 52 gold, so we'll make that one. Some of them might end up being more expensive to make. We won't be making. We're at 37 already. Very, very, very. So now we've hit the 40 mark, and we can pretty much stop here. In my bags, you'll notice that there are a number of different items I made. None of these are going to sell for much, but don't worry, we're about to make good use of that. I'm going to pop over here to the Enchanting Trainer, and we are going to learn Midnight. So I'll once again open up my skill window, and you can see that there's this new button called Disenchant. You're going to use that, all of the gear we just made. Now when you craft gear, it is going to be between quality 1 to 5, and we don't really have a use in the current game for any gear that is below quality 5. Now, one of the nice other things that is happening as I'm disenchanting this is not only am I getting more items that I can, but we're also getting skill points as we do. And you can see enchanting's already up to 8. I believe disenchanting can get you up to somewhere between 10 and 15. You also notice that most of the supplies that we bought are still intact. So I've set the numbers to give us plenty of space. Now there are also some knowledge point items here. I'll worry about knowledge points in another video. They're not important to what we're doing right now, but they are eventually something that we'll think about. Alright, so now our disenchanting is done. We're going to head over to our supplier. We're going to need one of these refulgent copper rods, and I usually buy vellum in stacks of about 50. And we will be using it. We'll go back to the enchanting trainer, as there's a few new recipes that we can learn. And then we'll open up our skill. First thing that we'll be making is a refulgent copper rod. This is the only tool that we're going to be making, and that's only because it's just part of the leveling. Everything else we make is going to be enchanted onto the paper, and we're going to pick the cheapest crafting patterns that we can find. So you'll notice that the helm enchants and shoulder enchants require 15 dust and 3 shards, but the ring enchants are only 5 dust. Very cheap to make.
What needs bring you here?
And of course, we'll keep our conversation with Delorthos open so we can get new patterns as things go. We're up to 20 now. Alright, now the level up is a green arrow, so now we are at a low chance of getting the skill up. So now we might end up needing to make some more expensive items. You can see that this Phoenix Oil is 48 gold to make. This enchant is 83 gold to make. This requires vials though, and they weren't part of our shopping list, so I'm going to avoid it. Make a few of these Rune of Avoidance. At least enough to get us up to the next multiple of 5. So, that's going to give us some new patterns, including a new ring pattern, which again, very cheap to make, 18 gold. Use that for our next 10 points is what we can get from that. Now these enchantments can be useful for alts, for characters that you're leveling, but they generally aren't things that will sell to other players. They're for the most part pretty throwaway. Technically, you can also save a bit of gold because you're not going to need to buy all of the patterns that are here. I just, as part of what makes me tick, like to get that filled out. And I can see that this enchant ring Nature's Wrath is going to carry us very, very, very far up in terms of skill. Again, 18 gold for a guaranteed skill up. Quite good. Looks like we're not getting a guaranteed skill up anymore. We'll have to find another one. The Enchant Shoulders is only 83 gold. Only 83 gold here, so we'll make some. Now our goal for enchanting is to get to between 55 and 65 skill. I'd like to get it as high as we can, but there's a limit. As you can see, we're just about to run out of dust. We'll do one more. And then we're going to leave it be. So one thing that we've got here is Radiant Shatter. So what we can actually do is take some of the cards that we bought that we still have. You can see we have 35 left there. We can convert those into dust and get a little bit further if we want. I'm going to actually do that and see if we can maybe push. Or, you know, I think we could just leave it now. For now, 50 should be fine. I'm going to open my map, find the Collegiate Calamity Delve just to the left of the bazaar in the city. And there's a little red tower you can see just beside it. And that tower is where we're heading. It's all the way up here, and there's a little room in the top floor. Inside this room, we're going to find Junara, and she has a number of patterns as well. These patterns are all for disguises that let you change your character's appearance. And while they can be fun, they tend not to sell very well. So I usually, for the most part, leave them. So now that we finished our training, I've flown back down to our tables here in the bazaar, and it's time to try and cash in a little bit on what we're doing. So we're going to head over to the crafting orders at the table. We're going to specifically head to the patron crafting order. And the goal is any of these that we can complete that aren't too expensive, we're going to do. So you'll notice that this only requires 10 gold to make, and the patron is paying us 65 gold, as well as some other rewards. And we're basically going to be selling all of these other rewards that we can. One of the things that we're getting is Moxie. This is a currency that we'll be using to purchase new recipes. We're also getting Augment Runes. Augment Runes are used by top-end players in order to try and eke out every little advantage they can. And we're also getting Artisan Consortium payout bag. And the payout bags are fantastic because they can contain any random material. So we've completed quite a few orders here. There's a few that we aren't able to complete, but that's fine. We're and leave that be. Head over to the enchanting table, and we're going to do the same thing. Now you notice that for some of these orders, my skill and tools are so low that I'm not able to make an item of the quality that the crafter wants. As a result, I'm going to need to spend something called concentration. Now, as you keep doing this, your skill is going to go up and up and up, and you're going to need to use less and less of that. And in another video, we'll go over and cover how you can actually use that to make even more gold. Alright, so now all of our orders are complete. We're going to head over to the mailbox, and we got 16 total payouts here. And that's not bad. That is actually what I would consider on the lower side. We have 6 Artist Consortium payout bags. We're going to open those and see what materials they have. Perfect. Now, we're going to head back to the auction house in this town, which is just to the south of the plaza. So that we can sell things off. Talk to the auctioneer. And all we have to do is right click on one of them and it'll show us. So we're selling this 6 fantastic fur for about 3 gold. These 2 plumes for about 190. And you can see everything getting. Now, because all of these materials are sold on a region-wide scale, they are essentially going to sell almost immediately. You can see I also have a ton of supplies left, so I can keep doing crafting orders in the future. And I have these extra materials which I can use for my warband if I choose. So that's effectively everything. If we take a look, we have about 6,000 gold in auctions, so we've already recouped over half of what we spent. We start with 15,000 gold and we're down to 5,500. So we've almost recouped everything. We're going to get new orders every day, and we're going to get a big bulk of orders every 3 days. So I usually will log in and check most of my characters each day. It takes about 5 minutes per character. But if you only want to check twice a week, you're more than welcome to do so. 3.5 days in between. You can do the bigger bulks of orders. But now, everything we just did, we still have all these supplies to do our patron crafting orders. This character is set up for a while. And we're just going to keep filling these out, selling the materials that we get, and making money. And this is going to add up to thousands and thousands and thousands of gold per week, and it's such a low investment. I really like it. So thank you for coming with me on this journey. I hope that you are just as successful when you set up one of your characters to do this, and take care.